Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjalachalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Swapadatikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopeshu Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusude Devi Pranamani Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama,
Rama Hare Hare,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Rama Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare
You can see.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, all of you. So we will start this presentation and I hope you can see. So as usual, I'm going to, for a change, make you all read rather than me explaining. So you can start off. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So you can see this. So let's pay our obeisances to Shishi Radhe Govinda. And first thing is significance of Kshetridi we are going to read. So as usual, can I have someone start reading this? Can you see the screen?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Someone can start reading this one loud and clear. Just one second. Let me just, I'll also have it. Yeah. Yes. On the auspicious day of Akshay Tridi, yes, Prabhu, please, you can start reading. And Mataji, all of you all can do one. Please go ahead.
Akshaya Tritiya is celebrated on the third day of the bright fortnight in the month of Vaisakha Sukla Paksha Tritiya. Akshaya means inexhaustible, that which never deteriorates. It is considered to be the most auspicious day to start a new venture and for charity. Whatever services are offered to the Supreme Lord or his devotees on this day receives manifold eternal benefits. Dana given today is said to give manifold results. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So just a very quick update, which I wanted to tell is those days, you'll be thinking he got crores of credits, right? So where do even King Nirga, where did he get crores? Because there are specific days denominated for donation. So let's say that a normal day like yesterday or tomorrow, when you do, let's say you're giving 100 rupees. The 100 rupees which you give is equal to 100 rupees only. But specifically on today, which is Akshay Tritiya, when you give, it takes multiple times, right? Also in some bhumi, they say when you do something in Vrindavan or Mayapur, the credits are higher. Same way in Vrindavan, if you do an offense also, the offense becomes manifold. But especially on Akshay Tritiya, when you do any dana, right, the donation which you give, it's like 1 rupee, it's like multiple rupees, right? So this is what they have highlighted. What is the significance of Akshay Tritiya? Hare Krishna. Yeah, please.
Yes, Mataji. Apart from the rush to purchase gold, there are many other reasons why this day is very significant. Some of the commonly known aspects are listed below. However, we also give you a list of 7 least known facts. Now, 1. Lord Parashurama appeared on this day. 2. Ganga descended to earth on this day. This day marks the beginning of Jïäna-yoga. 4. Sudama visited Krishna at Dwaraka. 5. Pandavas receive Akshay Patras from Sun God. Mataji, please update screen. 6. Vyasadeva started composing Mahabharata on this day. 7. Kubera received his wealth and position as custodian of wealth from goddess Lakshmi. 8. It is said that goddess Annapurna Devi appeared on this day.
Very nice. So,
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, this one doesn't need explanation. You all know all the famous great things have happened. So we've always perceived, Akshay Tridi means we have to run and pick up gold. So let's hear what actually they have. And Simachalam, many of them who are in Andhra will know. Shyam Prabhu is here. Prabhu, you will know about Simachalam, right?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, one of you all read, and maybe he will be more apt to talk about Simachal than me. Yeah, please read, and then Shyam Prabhu can explain. Please go ahead. Someone please read. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji. Simhachalam, Andhra Pradesh is the abode of Lord Narasimha. The deity of Lord Narasimha is always covered with sandal paste. On the day of Akshay Tritiya, which occurs 11th day before Narasimha Jayanti, the appearance day of Lord Narasimha, the sandal paste is removed and Abhishekam is performed. This is the only day the devotees will get to see the form of the Lord. On the same evening, the deity is again covered with the sandal paste. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. Yes, Prabhu, you please go ahead.
Yes, Mataji, today is the day where we can see the God in his the original form. Otherwise, the rest of every days, all days, you can see the deity with the covered with that sandal paste, like some shape only. It is not having any that idol. This is the very auspicious day, and all the people will go to the temple and they will take that blessings.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Jagannath Puri. Wow. So this one, let me try because I just been last week, right? Hare Krishna. Jagannath Puri. Every year, the Rath Yatra festival is celebrated at Jagannath Puri. The 3 chariots of Jagannath, Nandi Gosha, Baladev, Taladvaja, and Subhadra, Darpadalalna, are newly constructed every year with the wood of specific tree. The construction of chariots for Rath Yatra begins on the day of Akshaya Tritiya. Yeah, so beautiful, right? So every year they construct with a particular wood, right? So this is the speciality of the chariot, and the construction of the chariot starts here. Okay, this one is a news. Even though I'd been there, I didn't come across this. But what I know, which I can add to this, is in Jagannath Puri, there is this Visarjan which happens once in 12 years, right? So what happens, there will be select 3 pandas, and they will keep them in a secluded place near the in a particular room where they will be asked to dream. Not that they will be asked, automatically they'll get the dream, and in the dream they will get the a place or the wood, because the Jagannath God is actually sculptured out of a wood, right? But they can't take any wood, and we can't select the wood. So the wood will come in their dream of the pandas, and they will spot the wood, and that will come in the dream of all 3 pandas. Right? So this is the first level of checking. Otherwise, we'll all have a doubt. Simply someone is telling. Now, even after that, it is tested for the tint of the wood. The wood should have a tint. For example, Subhadra Mataji's wood, which they do, Subhadra Maya's wood will have that yellowish tinge. That, the tinge which we say even our skin has a tinge, like that the wood will have a tinge. So that is there. Now, if the wood is not matching or it is not as per the standard, then they will put the pandas back for, waiting for the whole process. So this is a process which they adapt, right? So this, and originally also when the wood came, first deity when it was formed, and Indradyumna was the king who actually got the origin, because he wanted to construct the temple and he never had a chance to see the deity. So therefore, the woods which floated in water had, Sangu, Chakra, Gada, all of them, Conchal, all 4 were there in the wood. The markings were there. After that only they started doing it. So I just thought I'll share, but this is more specific to the chariot. Hare Krishna. Ramuna, Krishna, Chir Chor Gopinath. This also we had been, but this story one of you all can read, and I think we have spoken the story so many times. So you can just read this one. This is fine. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
In the temple of Krishna Chora Gopinatha, Remina, Orissa, the deity of Madana Mohana, Govinda and Gopinatha are smeared with sandalwood pulp on this auspicious day of Akshaya Tritiya. This tradition is being followed from the time of Sri Mahavendra Puri, one of the acharyas in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, who traveled from Vrindavana to Jagannath Puri on the order of Gopala deity to collect sandalwood and camphor. On the way back, the deity of Gopala ordered Madhavendra Puri to grind the sandalwood with camphor and apply it to Gopinatha deity. Because the deity of Gopala and Gopinatha are non-different. This deity of Gopinatha stole a sweet rice pot for his dear devotee Mahavendra Puri, and hence the name Krishhara Chora Gopinatha.
Shira Chora Gopinath.
Gopinatha.
Shira means like we use the word paisam, right? Mataji, that's the same thing. And Shira Chor. So Krishna, we keep calling him Chor. Even here, he didn't steal for him. If he thinks he'll get. So he steals for all the Gopa boys, for all the monkeys. So you'll be wondering why those monkeys? That's
Makkan Chor.
Yeah, so Makkan, yeah. There he is Makkan Chor. Here he becomes, because Madhavendra Puri is the super guru of Chaitanya. Super guru means we use that, no? Like Ikshvara Puri is the guru of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and his guru is Madhavendra Puri. And one day Madhavendra Puri, I have told you all the story, right? So he visits the place to pick sandalwood, and he sees the sweet rice and he gets, for a second he thinks, oh wow, given a chance for me to taste, I will be able to give the same sweet rice when I go back to Vrindavan for my Sakshi Gopal. Remember, he got found the deity Sakshi Gopal. He says, wow, I will do that. But then what happens is, when he sees the Sakshi Gopal, when he sees that, and when the thought comes, he thinks, oh my Krishna, how can I even get this thought? Which means that I have mentally tasted. You remember, we have read that deity worship includes even when we do some seva in the mind, when we can't do physically. Doesn't mean you should do daily in the mind, but wherever we can't engage physically, that is also allowed. So he feels bad and he just leaves the place. And he goes to the marketplace, and he's just sitting there. That time, in that dream of the king Pujari, he says, listen, I have stolen one, and I have hid behind that the screen. What do you call that screen? Which they put, right, when during the food and all that we serve. So please take it and give, because my devotee is not eating or has not eaten. So he stole, and he just took that and gave it to him. And the Pujari was so excited, and Madhavendra Puri was even more excited, that he ate it and he just could not leave. He literally, even started eating the clay pots, and he smeared his entire body with the clay, with that pot. So that much of love and devotion they had. Now we are going to read about Badrinath. This is one place I've always wanted to go. I think more of a fantasy than of spirituality. So yes, one of you all, please go ahead and read. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
In Badrinath, the temples of Gangotri and Yamunotri are closed during winter. On the day of Akshaya Tritiya, the shrines reopened for the pilgrims. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Badrinath, you can see fog. So there's so much of snow. So that is the story. So they reopened on that particular day. Kumbhakonam. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Kumbhakonam, the temple city, celebrates Garuda Vahana Seva for Vishnu deities, Perumal, from 12 different temples: Chakrapani, Sarangapani, Varadaraja, Valvil Raman, etc. Garuda are known as Vainadya, son of Vinatha, is a bird carrier of Lord Vishnu. He is the king of the birds, Gajendra. In the Vedic literature, it is stated that 2 wings of Garuda are 2 divisions of Samaveda, known Brat and Radhantara. The vibration generated by flapping of his wings form the basis of Samaveda mantras. Visit Kumbhakonam on the auspicious day of Akshaya Tritiya to have darshan of Dvadasa Garuda Seva.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So it's very clear. So the two wings represent the two divisions called the Brihat and the Ratanthara. So the Samaveda we would have read, right? Brihat. Of the thing, the sweetest is Brihat. So he represents both. And so this is celebrates the Garuda Vahana Seva. Garuda is the vehicle of Vishnu, all of you all know. And from 12 temples, they do that, right? So that's a speciality. And now let's get into our Srila Prabhupada, what he did. He incorporated the League of Devotees. So let's see what he incorporated and where. Yes, Prabhu, Mataji, one of you all, please read. Hare Krishna.
Do you know Srila Prabhupada is a founder Acharya of ISKCON, the International Society of Krishna Consciousness? Before starting ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada incorporated a society in India called the League of Devotees at Jhansi on the auspicious day of Akshaya Tritiya, 16th May in the year of 1953. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So very clearly the League of Devotees at Jhansi, an auspicious day of Akshaya Tritiya in the year 1953. Right. So this is a special day again. So even our founder Acharya, he, this day is noted. So 5 things you must do on Akshaya Tritiya. Very important, right? Today, what we should do. Let's go ahead. Yeah, please, Mataji or Prabhu, one of you, you want me to chant the thing? I'll do. Hare Krishna. Natriya ruddhira maye jagat apagata papam snapayasi payasi shamai tabhavatapa keshava trita bhigupati rupa jaga jaya jagadisha. Okay, Jaya Jagadisha Hare Krishna. I'm sorry, bad at chanting, but I just managed. Please go ahead and one of you all read.
O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of Brugpati, Parsurama, all glories to you. At Kurukshetra, you bathed the earth in the rivers of blood from the bodies of the demonic Kshatriyas that you have slain. The sins of the world are washed away by you, and because of you, people are relieved from the blazing fire of material existence. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So well read. So this goes again, Brigupati, Parashuram, all of them are the Avesha avatar, right? Coming for a special task. So Parshuram comes for finishing the bad Kshatriyas, right? And Krishna also, they're talking about Mahabharata part, we know about it. So we are going to talk about what is the speciality today. So recite 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. We won't recite 18 chapter, but we will be reciting 18th chapter today, right? Incidentally, this has come coincidentally for us, for all those who are here. Yes, please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. It is believed that Vyasadeva, the great
sage,
started composing Mahabharata on the auspicious day of Akshaya Tritiya. Mahabharata is considered to be the 5th Veda, and it contains Bhagavad Gita, the essence of all Vedic literatures. It is said that the effects of the past sinful reactions will not act upon one who reads Bhagavad Gita sincerely. With all seriousness, so to get rid of the material dirt accumulated from our previous births, we should take bath in the holy water of Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna.
so very clear. So he says Mahabharata was composed today. So it said the past sinful act, right? If anybody reads Bhagavad Gita sincerely, with all sincerity, it will get rid of the material dirt accumulated over previous months. So we should take bath in the holy water of Bhagavad Gita. So very clearly, he is saying this one, right? So please try and see how much ever you can read Bhagavad Gita. If not only the content, we can read today. Hare Krishna. Offer oblations to the forefathers. So these are the 5 things. One, starting with reading Bhagavad Gita. Now, second thing, yes, or Mataji, anyone.
Hare Krishna. One should perform Shraddha ceremony on the Akshaya Tritiya days, Srimad Bhagavatam 7.14.21. On the auspicious day of Moksha Titiya, you may offer oblations to your departed forefathers to save them from suffering due to various types of sinful reaction. Hare Krishna.
Right? So we can do Shraddha ceremony today for others. Next one is Annadanam, distribute prasadam. Spiritually offered food is called prasadam. So that you can do. Next is charitable, donate towards charitable cause. So you can go ahead and please read this one. So let's understand what is the myth.
It is advertised that buying gold on the day of Akshaya Tritiya will make you rich. However, this is not a fact as per Vedic scriptures. Traditionally, the rulers and rich people of the society used to perform sacrifice, yajna, and distribute their wealth in charity on such auspicious days. Charitable activities can be performed out of compassion to the poor or for the spiritual upliftment of oneself. In Bhagavad Gita, it is recommended that one should perform charity without expecting any returns at a proper time. Solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, and various other auspicious muhurtas like Akshaya Tritiya and place in a place of pilgrimage or in temple, and to a worthy person, a qualified Brahmana or a Vaishnava devotee. It is also said that one should never abandon yajna, dana, tapa, karma, prescribed duties of performing sacrifice, charity, austerity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So you understand? So the concept of buying gold is a myth which our goldsmiths and the gold jewelers used it as a business opportunity.
It is a mafia.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice word. For Krishna conscious endeavors, right? The Lord is the bestower of benediction. If someone gives something to the Lord, he is not the loser. He is the gainer by billion times. Right? We've seen it in Sudama, where Sudama gave only rice, right? And what Krishna did, and it's just not Sudama, it's many more. So we have donation links. We have this Annadan, which is prasadam. Then sponsor a brick, 1,500. Sponsor square feet construction, 5,000. So we have all this, right? International life membership, which is 35,000. So all this you can do today, right? So that's a specialty today. And you can go ahead and for anything you have, Srivatsanga Kirtan Das Prabhu, otherwise called as Sridhar Prabhu, you can contact him, you can make a note and we can do. We'll be sharing with all of you. So the details, so you can.
Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu.
I tried through this links, Mataji, but they are not working.
Can you connect to that Prabhu? The number is given, right? So
yes, I have to do it because I tried in the early morning.
So nice, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Thanks for a good start. So
but that screenshots I have, that screenshots I sent to Mohandas Prabhuji for help.
Sure.
Yeah,
No problem.
I'm working on it, but Mataji, I've already put in the group. I'm working on it, so I'll sort it out after the class.
So very nice. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
If you can't get it, Prabhu, after the class, you can, connect. I wish you all a happy Akshaya Tritiya. So I don't know if I started with that or I didn't, but again, I would like to repeat, wish you all a happy Akshaya Tritiya and have a great, year ahead with charity. So charity begins at home. So doesn't mean that you should first do charity in your house, but then start charity from your house and start seeing if even you're sitting at home and you can't go out. Today we have all like our online studies, online links. So please feel free to do that. So we are going back to the 18th chapter, the D section. And before that, let's quickly see what we revised. And at the end, I will give you the scores. Because if I give you the score now, all of you will go into trance with that. So let's pay our obeisances to Shishi Radhe Govinda. And we are seeing the perfection of renunciation, which is a continuation. So the 18th chapter, we already saw that acting with detachment is true renunciation, right? So Tyaga, that is called Tyaga, and the frame or the state we are in is called renunciation. 13 to 18 talks about the conclusion of Sankhya and Vedanta and actions directed by the super soul, right? So Akarma gives us liberation. 19 to 40, we see entanglement of three modes. And we also started seeing, how we started scoring ourselves there, which we will see at the end. And we are now moving to the section D, which is 41 to 48, where worshipping the Lord through one's occupational work is true renunciation. and brings freedom from reaction. Now it's confusing. We keep telling why we should not think of occupational work. Now it's occupational work. So let's see what it is. And these are, karma mixture bhakti. Mixtra bhakti means, mishra means mixed. 49 to 55 from Jïäna-yoga. It's Jnana Mishra Bhakti. To pure devotion, how do we go? And 56 to 60, working in pure devotional service by itself. And 61 to 63, we are going to see how to surrender to Supreme God. And of course, definitely the last 3 will be for tomorrow. Let's see how much we can cover today. So it is basically the most confidential knowledge of all, become a pure devotee of Krishna. And the next one is preaching and studying the Bhagavad Gita, right? These are the things which we are going to see. We already saw this, so I'm just going to run because I'm going to do a re-revision tomorrow. So we will straight go to the section D. And all these scoring, I'm sure you all are more aware, right? All this which is flashing before me. So this one is where we are going to start. It's very familiar, though it sounds different. Now, 41 to 48, do you recall what we started introducing these concepts by second chapter? We started learning about Sakama to Nishkama. So Sakama, Sa-Kama, right? That means you are into Kama, a part of it. And Nishkama is without Kama. So that is what it is. So Sakama, all work is controlled by the modes, yet one can become free from the reactions of work by acting as Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Sudra in Nishkama Karma Yoga, while worshipping the Lord through the work. This work, even if faultily done, is better than accepting another's occupational duty. Prescribed duties are never affected by sinful reaction. So we already saw when Arjuna wanted to run away from the battlefield, Krishna says, don't do that. Please do your own duty. That is more important. Because even if you go into the forest, you are a Kshatriya, your blood will boil. Sorry, you can't see the screen, right? Okay.
Yes, Mataji, we are seeing Mataji.
Oh, okay, because it says paused. Okay. So as a Kshatriya, you must go ahead and fight, right? And you, even if you take sannyasi, you will go to the forest and see some injustice and your blood will boil to pick a fight. So you can't be a true renunciant, and running away from the existing job is not renunciation. So which brings most of us to a concept of Sakama Karma Yoga. So prior to that is Karma Kanta, right? So we only think of us. But we do started thinking of Krishna and moving slowly to Nishkama Karma Yoga. So Nishkama Karma Yoga is any activity or action which you do, and that is free of sins because you are doing everything for Krishna, like selling a book. Or you all are forwarding, right? Many times we tell 18 days is going to start. Okay, actually 18 days is going to start from the week after. So, the links will be shared and you can share that with everyone, right? With all of them. So that is Nishkama. You don't keep a target. Okay, I do that, right? So you do it for the pleasure of the Lord without any expectation. Right? So that is there. And you mainly follow whatever is the prescribed duty as per Shastras. So I keep repeating Shastras. So let's see what Krishna says and what are the 4 kinds of ashramas based on the moods, right? I will do the, the Sanskrit, and one of you all can, as usual, you can have 3. Can we have 3 of them like last time? 3 hands up so that one can do the first, second, and the third.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Do number 1, and who's number 2?
I am the number 1, Mataji.
Yeah, you're number 1, Prabhu. First column.
I will read number 2, Mataji.
Very nice. Thank you, Shobha Mataji. And 44. And Shobhana Mataji, I'm waiting for your story today. Okay, at the end. So 18.44.
My Prabhu will tell story, Mataji, today.
Okay, no problem. Perfect. 18.44, who would like to read?
Yeah, I can read, Mataji.
Okay, thank you so much, Sanjaya Mataji. So we would start. Hare Krishna. 18.42. Samadama stapa saucham shanti rajavam evacha jnanam vinyanam ashtikyam brahma karma swabhavajam. Hare Krishna.
Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, wisdom, knowledge, and religiousness. These are the qualities by which the Brahmanas work. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So very clearly, they are specifically, now we are talking about ashrama. Ashrama we know is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. So they are going to talk about the job profile of each of them and the qualities, right? So Saucham, cleanliness is very, very important. Why am I talking about it? Mataji, everybody's quality should be good only. We've already read in the 16th chapter, 26, a divine quality. Yes, but in that, there are qualities for a particular ashrama which will dominate. Example, fearlessness should be more for a Brahmana, right? Because and a sannyasi, because sannyasi is going to travel alone, right? In that, if somebody is in the sannyasi ashram, then he has to follow that. And now specifically coming to Brahmana, he should have more of self-control. You may ask, then, ma'am, Mataji is not required for Kshatriya. Kshatriya needs another set of quality, which we will see. But specifically for a Brahmin, austerity, honesty, these are required. For a Vaishya, he can compromise a bit. Because if this dress costs 500, or let's say it costs 200, and he's selling for 500, he will tell, I got this dress for 450. It is okay, right? But for Brahmana, that is not okay. So that is what is, because the purity and honesty is required. So this is the quality of a Brahmana. Now let's see what Kshatriya's qualities. All the hero worship will come here. Hare Krishna. Sauryam tejo dhrite daksham dechapi apalayanam dhanam ishvara bhavasya charam charma swabhavajam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are the qualities of work for the Kshatriyas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So basically, Shauryam, right? Heroism, right? Power. We always see heroism is there, power is there, because he needs to have a particular power to stand out on law, right? Keep law enforced. Like a police. If you're doing wrong, hey, you're doing wrong, please don't do, you're not going to listen. He's going to charge, right? He's going to, he's going to show his power. Determination, very, very determined. Even in the battlefield, even if he's bleeding, he is determined to complete whatever it is. Resourcefulness, courage in the battle. He should not get scared and run in the middle. Generosity, he should be so generous, right? So he will be taking care of the Brahmanas. So that is the generosity. And leadership, of course, goes without saying, right? And so these are the qualities of a Kshatriya. The 18.44, Hare Krishna. Krishi go rakshama nityam vaishyakarma swabhavajam sudrashyapi swabhavajam. I think one line, I don't know what happened. Sorry. Paricharyatmakam karma sudrasyapi swabhavajam. Hare Krishna. So sorry. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Farming, cattle raising, and business are the qualities of work for the Vaishyas. And for the Shudras, there is labor and service to others. Hare Krishna.
So very clearly, cattle raising and taking care of the business is Vaishya's job. And Sudra's job is simply to take care of the tree so that they can function smoothly without any challenge. So that becomes the job of the Sudra. So till now clear, so we can move to the next and somebody else can start reading this, or one of you all can read. 18.43, Hare Krishna. Swaswe karmani abhirataha siddhim labate naraha swakarma nirata siddham yatha vindati chakshrinu. Hare Krishna.
By following his qualities of work, every man can become perfect. Now please hear from me how this can be done. Hare Krishna.
So very clearly he says, thank you so much, Prabhu. By following the work itself, one can become perfect. We've already done this in the 4th chapter, where Arjuna asks, oh Krishna, so it starts off with this, right? Krishna says, whoever does whatever, I reciprocate to them accordingly, right? The bhakti. So Arjuna says, then why do they go to demigod? So Krishna says, for quick results. Then Arjuna asks, okay, then how will they get purified? He says, simply by following Varnashram. How? By getting purified. He just tells one line, but here he is giving in detail. So 18th chapter actually seeing is a summary. It's like a summary chapter of the whole 18 Bhagavad Gita chapters, right? That's why it's a longest chapter. It's got like 78 verses. So that's why we are splitting it into 3 days. Now 18.46, Hare Krishna. Yataha pravriti bhutana yena sharvam idam tatam swakarmana tvam abhyarchya siddham vindati manavah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. By worshipping of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all pervading, man can, in the performance of his own duty, attain perfection. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, he says by the worship of the Lord, right? By praying Krishna, he is the source of the all beings. We all very clearly know who is all pervading. Man can, in the performance of his own duty, attain perfection. So we see the picture and we read, right? Brahmana focuses on chanting and teaching, and Kshatriya is in the warfield. He will do his own business, and Sudra will help the other classes, right? Why? Because we'll see this. This is a very funny one. Hare Krishna, Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha Paradharmat Swanushtita Gat Swabhava Niyatam Karma Kurmannapnoti Kilvisham. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. It is better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly, than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. Prescribed duties according to one's nature are never affected by sinful reactions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So he says it's better to engage in one's occupational, one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly. He says it's okay, even if you're going to do it imperfectly, it's totally fine, right? Than to accept somebody's occupation and perform it, perfectly. So prescribed duties according to one's nature, whatever you do. Example, you have all of them. Who will climb the tree first? It's so unfair, right? So he's saying that this is very important when you are doing. Hare Krishna, 18.48. Sahajam karma kaunteya sadosham api natyajat sarvaramba hi doshena dhumanagir ivavritaha. Hare Krishna.
Every endeavor is covered by some fault, just as fire is covered by smoke. Therefore, one should not give up the work born of his nature, O son of Kunti, even if such work is full of fault. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. He says every endeavor, right, whatever you're doing is covered by some fault. Just the fire is covered by smoke. Like that, one should not give up the work born of his nature. Right? So what are they talking about here is somewhere, whatever you do, even if you're talking about sannyasi, right, he will go and cook his own food, and in the process of cooking, there'll be some insects that will die. So just like how by default the fire has some smoke, so even if you think I'm renunciating, I'm not doing any harm, there also there is an indirect harm which we are doing. Therefore, one should not give up the work born of his nature. Like what is the nature work, swabhava? By nature, like for example, chili has to be spicy, salt has to be having that salty taste, right? So these things is a nature. That's called the nature. Like how we say by nature we are souls, right? So we are eternal and we are servant or servator for Krishna. Like that, we by nature are having a particular thing after we are born here. So we should never give up that work. So that's what Krishna is.
So it is to follow the Swadharma, Mataji.
Prabhu, yes, too. It is to follow Swadharma in your own, in the way you are. For example, to make it more clear, if you're a Grahastha, you maintain your own stand. You don't have to leave Grahastha and run and come here. That is more understandable. So I'm giving you this example, though he is referring to Varnas here. So he's telling if you're a Kshatriya, continue as a Kshatriya, don't jump and become a Vaishya. Now you may tell that, okay, Parshuram was a Brahmin, but he became that. And Vishwamitra was also a Kshatriya, but he became a Brahmana. But they are in a very exalted platform, right? They are more exalted than any normal person is. Therefore, for them, it's different. But most of the time, right, you are advised to follow your own ashram. So when I'm talking about that, for us, simpler way of understanding is if you're a Grahastha, many times we will see 35, middle or 40, many Prabhujis will have requested in ISKCON, can we leave the family and come? No, you can't. And also women, they request, right? Can we join the, as a full-time ashramite? That's also no, because the women need protection. They need to be in the family, and men also need to take care of the family once they're committed. Yes, they have the choice to choose. Men can choose before they getting married. But after getting married, they have to fulfill at least till the particular age, till you reach the age where they are all settled. And then you take Vanapashta. That is fine. But you can't think of a sannyasi after getting into a Grahastha at that slot. I hope I've made it clear.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Thank you so much. Section E, confidential knowledge, right? So what is confidential knowledge? Now we saw from Sakama, we are slowly going to Nishkama. From Nishkama, what should be the focus, right? So Nishkama through liberation, then devotional service. So ultimately everything will come to, all roads lead to Nom, I don't know, but all roads of Bhagavad Gita leads to Krishna. That much I can tell you. Confidential knowledge from reaction-free work through Jnana Yoga to Brahman platform and pure devotional platform service. Right? So this is very important. 49 to 53. One practicing Nishkama Karma Yoga, detached work, attains goodness and the knowledge that he is not his body. Right? We have seen this. We read, I'm not the body, I'm the soul in the second chapter. But it took us so long, right? Now, one thing I can tell by assurity. All of you, one thing is sure, when you meet someone who's too good or too bad, you won't have a shop. Immediately your mind, does it work? Because it's worked for me. So before I take this forward, a small detour, do you feel when you see someone little odd, either extremely good or bad, immediately your mind starts working on mode of goodness or ignorance? Yes or no?
Yes.
Starts coming, right? So that's why I call 14th chapter is a very practical chapter, right? Because you can relate, you can associate. 11th chapter, 10th and 11th, 10th chapter in particular is also practical, but there we need a bit of force, right? We need to push ourselves to think, okay, can I think of sky as Krishna? We need that. It's not involuntary, it's voluntary. But the mode of passion, ignorance, and of course, mode of goodness in material world comes so naturally, right? When we see someone, oh, okay. And even if we want to react, how anger comes down is understanding this. When we want to react, we know, okay, maybe I'm in the mode of passion. If I react and fight with some fellow in the road, then, oh my God, I'm going into mode of ignorance. Yes or no? So that will start dominating and that becomes a shield. Whatever Maya is putting us inside, the same information, jnana about Maya is pulling us out of that Maya also. Hare Krishna. So one practicing Nishkama Yoga, detached work, attains goodness and the knowledge that he is not his body. He finally attains Brahman platform. By serving Krishna on this platform with devotion, one reaches the thing, right? So how you go there and Nishkama Karma, you get detached, you understand you're not the body, you're the soul, and you go into the Brahman platform, right? You're at a different level in our language. And then you focus on devotional service, automatically you will go there. So from Karma Yoga to Jnana Yoga. So the first 6 chapters talks about Karma Yoga. Last 6 talks about Jnana Yoga. Why all these are happening? Because Jnana helps you to come out of the material world. One who is self-controlled and completely unattached can engage in Jnana Yoga, practicing renunciation. Right? The result is one can attain the highest perfect stage of freedom from reaction. Right? Who can engage in Jnana Yoga? Can one attain Brahman platform? All this. Krishna is now going to summarize how one can achieve supreme perfection called the Brahman. He just said theory, right? You will reach Brahman. How? Right? So Brahman platform. So what is this Brahman platform? We are confused, right? It's not clear so far. Supreme perfection, stage of highest knowledge. So what is that Brahman knowledge? Is what we will hear from Krishna. So how to achieve the supreme perfection or the Brahma Bhuta platform, the peaceful one, right? So how they do? Do you recall the Ashtanga Yoga? Controlling the mind with determination, purified by intelligence, giving up sense objects, freedom from attachment and hatred, living in a secluded place, right? Eat little and control the body, mind, and speech. Freedom from all bad qualities, always in trance and detached. Thus, one achieves the supreme peace. Analogy for peace formula: a person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires, they enter the rivers into that enters like rivers in the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still. Right? So you notice what happens. The rivers, when they enter the ocean, right? The ocean gets filled, but it is also still, right? Does not get affected. The person is never disturbed by whatever happens. Example: false ego, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, acceptance of material things, and false proprietorship is not there, which you're going to read in your next level, right? Isha Upanishad. Ishvaraha Parama Krishnaha Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Govindaha Sarva Karana Karanam, which means that Ishvara, you are the supreme proprietor and nothing is going to change because I am not the supreme proprietor and I will take only what is allotted to me by quota. So this is how you reach the Brahma Bhuta platform. So 18.54 Hare Krishna. Bhuta Prasannatma Na sochati na kamshasi sama sarveshu bhuteshu bhaktim labate param. Hare Krishna.
One who is thus transcendentally situated at once realizes the supreme Brahman He never laments nor desires to have anything. He is equally disposed to every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. Hare Krishna.
Very clearly, he treats everybody equally, right? He doesn't lament, he doesn't do anything. He's equally. We saw this one, right? Vidya Vinaya Sampanne, Brahmanaste Suni Hastini, Suni Chaiva Swapakeva, Pandita Samadarshinaha. He sees everyone with an equal vision. This doesn't mean that I believe that you're God and I'm God. No, no, no. They know that you're Jivatma, but he knows that the Paramatma resides everywhere. So he treats everyone equally, not just human beings, but all living beings. Hare Krishna. So Brahma Bhuta platform, one who is transcendently situated. Prasanatma, fully he is joyful, na chochati, na kankshati, never laments or desires anything. Sama sarvenu bhuteshu, equally disposed to all living. Mad bhakta labade param will automatically reach my abode because he attains pure devotional service. So, how does he reach me? Because he attains pure devotional service if you follow this. He's always transcendental, fully joyful, does not have hatred or liking, and treats everyone equal and automatically focuses on devotional service. 18.55 Hare Krishna. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yamanyascha tatvatah tato mam tatvato nyatva vishate tadanantaram. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
One
Krishna.
can understand this.
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Okay,
Prabhu.
continue, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. One can understand the Supreme Personality as he is only the devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of Supreme Lord, by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Hare Krishna.
So this is the Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. All are reading well. So 18th chapter, I would request everybody to take the opportunity to read, because after this, you will be jumping into Ishopanishad at level 3. So your chance of reading Bhagavad Gita will become very less, because you will again revisit. You will have Bhagavad Gita, but it will be more like presentations. So you will actually do Bhagavad Gita in detail again in Bhakti Shastri, which is level 4. So I would request each one to at least read 1 or 2 lines to you. It doesn't matter even if you're tired or you can't see properly, or or if you're doing multitasking, or even if you feel that you're not going to speak a great English, doesn't matter. I always tell this is not an English drama class. Nobody will judge you. So one can understand that Supreme Personality as he is only by devotional service and in full consciousness of Supreme Lord by such devotion, right? Full conscious, he will enter the kingdom of Lord. He will be entering the kingdom of Lord. So 55, discussion point. What is attendance is there? Please fill. I keep forgetting my own attendance. That's why I keep telling you. How one's devotional service begins after achieving Brahma Bhuta stage. By hearing from the Lord, what is the effect of hearing Brahma Bhuta stage? So how do you do? Shunu, right? Always we tell Shravanam is very important. So hearing of the Lord, how do we do these things? Just keep hearing, which is what we are doing. Automatically it will develop and material contamination will decrease and one understands. So you don't need to go as a renunciant, right? Because we are Vaishnavas. We are not going to follow Ashtanga Yoga. So what we do, we stop with in the 9 process. The first one is Shravana, right? And automatically it will develop, contamination goes off and you understand the Supreme Lord. Krishna and his plenary portions cannot be understood by mental speculation or by non-devotees. Erudite scholarship or mental, it's not possible, right? If no college can do. Only way to know Krishna is by pure devotion under Guru's guidance, right? Without devotional service, nothing will be visible. Even Bhagavad Gita will not reveal itself to you if you do not have bhakti. So this is the eligibility to know the truth. To enter about, see, eligibility to know the truth is you should believe. Little bit of Shraddha is enough, right? So it's like this. If you want to give food for someone Annadan, you don't get to know someone so much, right? You just go outside to a temple and you call people and you are not bothered. But if you're calling the person inside your house, don't you take care? You will really get into the background of the person. And if the person is going to stay in your house for 1 week, that's all, full Aadhaar card, reference, testimony, right? You don't call a beggar and keep the person in your house because you have to trust. There should be a trust factor. You can be even without love, but you can never be without trust, right? So you may now allow a relative or a friend, even if you don't like the person, but you will never allow even a person whom you're close to, even if you don't have trust. Yes or no? Do you agree with me?
Yes, fully agree, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. The eligibility to enter the Lord's abode, one who is fully conversant with the signs of Krishna. So everything. So somebody who knows the signs of Krishna automatically loves Krishna and trusts Krishna completely. Today we use the word "I love you," but there is no value in that word because there is no trust. So we keep telling "I love you, Krishna," but do we trust Krishna? We don't, right? So there was one Prabhu I told. He immediately asked, "Mataji, the moment you do japa and all, we go to Sutta. We really wish if we do even one time properly, we do wholeheartedly. If we tell the name of Krishna once, we will move to Sutta Sattva platform. But their contamination is so high that we are not able to tell Krishna's name so much. We are doing 16 rounds of chanting because we are not able to do it properly. Otherwise, one time telling Krishna's name should take us there. But unfortunately, we saw that by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? So he says, Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sharva Shakti Tatra Pritani Amrita Smaranina Kala Etadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdeva Mitrisham Nihajananuraga. Hare Krishna. So what is he saying? He says, Nam Namakari Bahuda, your name is so beautiful, but I'm not getting the feel, right? I'm not getting that involvement. I'm not feeling it, right? It's the same thing. How many times when we say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. How many times do we enjoy? How many times do we relish? Forget both. How many times do we hear? We don't, right? So that is the challenge. So how can Krishna allow us inside when we don't trust, or when we don't have love, or when we don't have the basic eligibility? So to enter, we should be completely in the signs of Krishna. So that is what we are doing in the process. Now the section F talks about working in pure devotion, because we need to know this for the main takeoff. Now we have taken our passports. We also have our visa, right? To take off, right? We need to clear the security check and go into the board area, right? So these are the security checks. We've been clearing one after the other. Now we are going to be boarded. So what should we really do? Working in pure devotional service. One on the platform of devotion should work under the order of Lord, fully depending on Him and being fully conscious of Him. One will thus be free from the control of the modes of material nature. So what are we doing? 18.56. Sarva karmani api sada kurvano madvyapashrayah mat prasadat avapnuti shashvatam padam avyayam. Hare Krishna. Yes,
Hare Krishna. Though engaged in all kinds of activities, my devotee under my protection reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So so we have read that. So thus is free to control. Okay. So what he's saying. So thus engaged in all activities, my devotee automatically will reach my abode. So he's saying everything that in all kinds of activity. What activity? Not material, spiritual activity, which seems like material activity, but eventually you will come here. So Lord's protection. I personally protect my devotee from all the reactions. Right. So he is going to give this guarantee. And though engaged in all kinds of activities, this is what I told. We do everything. We go to office. We come. After this, we focus on what Shyam Prabhu told. Swadharma, right? Take care of our family, take care of the husband, children, in-laws, parents, everything. But everywhere we have Krishna in the middle. So by doing that, he reaches the eternal abode. What is the nature or quality of the service? There's no time limitation for. There is nothing. 24 hours. It's not like I will do 2 hours of japa and I forget. No. Ideally, we should do 24 hours. Right? So that is how you go. But then, as of now, we are starting with 2 hours, which is 10%. I had visited this tree. I don't remember the name of the place. In fact, I don't know also. Our Haridas Thakur, he was chanting so many times. Right? He chanted typically 1 lakh times. So, right, he was going on 192 rounds of japa. So you can imagine almost 22 hours. How he did, nobody knows, right? So that under the tree. And there's a story of this tree where the Mughals or Britishers, one of them wanted to cut down the tree because they thought they would use this tree for the bridge. And immediately the tree absorbed and became hollow, became incapable. So far, when they tested, it was supposed to be high quality. Next day, when they came to cut, it gave a very hollow noise, because that's the power of the spiritual name, right? It can absorb. The tree had absorbed and it could take the form to protect itself. So that, so Krishna protects from all angles, right? Hare Krishna. Significance of Mat Vyapacharya means under the protection of Lord. right? Under the protection of Lord. How does this protection come? Pure devotee acts under the direction of the Supreme Lord or his representative. Automatically, he will be taken care. Automatically, we can feel, we will start feeling it. We will start experiencing all this. It is not that we will start experiencing it late. Protection is already started. Why we don't experience? Because we don't see the problem at all. But as we become more and more dedicated, we'll be able to see how we escaped also from the problem. So that is what it is. Devotee mood. Devotee's mood of dependence in all activities just depend on me. Work always under the protection. In such devotion service, he fully conscious. Example, Draupadi just didn't bother beyond the point. She believed completely Krishna will take care. Completely she believed, right? And she just took her hand off. Now let's not imitate. So if tomorrow many of them say that, so trust Krishna. So if there is a problem, should I leave it to Krishna? No. Krishna has, there is the 5 things we learned, right? Endeavor. The endeavor should be from our end. In fact, Draupadi also had her endeavor. She tried her best and she gave up only when she couldn't. So we will fight till we can, and beyond that is when Krishna will come. So even the Damodar Leela is about that, right? Damodar, what does it mean? 2 inches were, she was able to tie a rope, but 2 inches, final 2 inches she couldn't take it. But then 1 inch she managed. So the moment Krishna saw, right, that 1 inch coming, his Kripa Shakti took over. They felt, oh my God, my mom is struggling, my devotee is struggling. I am going to give that 1 more inch. So your endeavor gives 1 inch, another endeavor will be super soul. We give that extra 1 inch. 1 inch of Krishna is really big, right? It's not like our 1 inch. Hare Krishna. 18.58. Machitta sarva durgani mat prasada tarishyasi atasetvam ahankaran nashosyasi vinankshyasi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of condition by my grace. If, however, you do not walk in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost.
Hare Krishna. Very clearly, if you become conscious of me, right, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditional life by my grace. So he says very clearly, if you know my presence, if you're conscious, you will automatically go through that. You do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. Obviously, we know very clearly Krishna is Krishna. You know all the obstacles, everything he'll take care. But if you think I am the doer, I can do, you'll tell, okay, you do and see what you can. If you become conscious of me, work as per whatever he is told, 18.5 you will pass over the obstacles. Otherwise, you will end up here. So very clearly, you see, Bhishma, Pitama, everyone, they did that. So therefore, their final mission was taken care. You will go through this. This is perfect. Krishna is consciousness, is free from all anxieties. Not unduly anxious about executing the duties of the existent. Krishna becomes his friend and looks after his comfort. He takes care. Krishna conscious person is liberated and free to act. He's totally, because everything is prompted by Krishna from within and confirmed by spiritual master. Krishna prompts everything. He tells, do this, do that. And to be on safer side, spiritual master certifies. His conditioned soul is always under strict material condition. Is acting under Krishna or illusion. Arjuna is a Kshatriya and his duty. Even if he avoids the fight, the modes will force him to fight. Right? They will technically force. Arjuna as a Kshatriya has natural duty to fight, but while refusing to fight, why? Because of false ego. More than false ego, it's relating it to his I factor, my family, my body, my relative. That, though we call it compassion, it is related to something which is not true. So forgetfulness of the conditional life is the relationship with God. There is a relationship, right? We have already said, Sambudhim cha vinasam cha yastayedo bayam saha asambudhim mrityum titva asambudhim mrityum ashnute. All these slokas I keep revising with you because you're going to hear it very soon. From next week, which is 7th of this month, May. Forget the relationship with the Supreme Person and consider himself as a master. If you do not act according to the direction and not fight, then you will be falsely directed by your nature. You will have to be engaged in the warfare. So you just have to be engaged, right? So if you are not acting according to that direction and falsely directed by nature, you will be engaged in the particular. That's the thing. Conclusion: unhesitating, execute the order of Supreme Person, and you will keep them safe under the circumstance. So you very clearly will follow the orders of Krishna. It is the order of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, and therefore it will be safe. 60 is acting under Krishna or illusion. If you do not follow my order, what happens? Anyone who voluntarily engages himself in the direction of Krishna become glorious. Otherwise, he will go into, he will get compelled to act by the modes. So you can be the boss of yourself by worshipping Krishna, or you can be the slave of the modes and succumb to that. You will be compelled to follow orders of lower nature. Ultimately, you have to follow the law. Hare Krishna. Should we do this also? Do you all have time? Yeah, it's a small one. We'll do this one. So summary of G. More confidential knowledge. Now what is happening here is the more confidential knowledge than the knowledge that one is spirit soul in the knowledge. Like I'm not the body, I'm the soul. More than that, what is the most confidential knowledge, which we will see, is that one should surrender to Supreme. So we saw three things, right? Confidential knowledge is discussed in the second chapter, right? I'm not the body, I'm the soul. And the most confidential is the 9th chapter, destination of Krishna. But what is the actual most confidential, which is discussed typically 7th and 8th chapter, is because that spirit soul, to basically that one is spirit soul, that we are the Atma, that we know. Because we are the Atma, we should surrender. The word surrender becomes the confidential knowledge. That's more confidential. Ishvara sarvabhutanam Ritesharjuna tishtati Brahmayan sarvabhutani Yantrarudani mayaya. Hare Krishna.
The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wandering of all living entities who are seated on as on a machine made of the material energy. Hare Krishna.
So very clearly saying, right? So very clearly, what is this one? Yantra Rudaya. So it's like a vehicle. He's taking care. If you see, beautifully Paramatma is there and we are like this. We are not even turning and seeing. We are in the same thing, but then we are not even turning and looking at Krishna. So that's our situation. Hare Krishna. Tam eva sharanam gacha sarvabhavena bharata tad prasada param Shantim Sthanam Prapsyasi Shashvatam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. O son of Bharata, surrender unto him utterly. By his grace, you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you so much. So you can see this. So who is this? Who is this God?
Lord Jagannath.
Jagannath.
Thank you so much.
Jagannath.
It's Jagannath. And who is this person?
King named.
Yes, King.
He's a king. Yeah, king, but I don't remember the name.
King Pratap Rudra. So he every year takes a broomstick and cleans. And I thought, okay.
Yeah.
Went to Jagannath,
he told
I
me.
realized it's a huge task. You know why? To just walk around Jagannath Puri itself, I was tired. Forget about cleaning. It will, one day will not be sufficient. He does it one full day and it's so tiring. So the king personally takes the broom and cleans the temple of Jagannath. Right? So that is the thing. And Krishna does not differentiate whether you are using a broomstick to clean or whether you are dressing him up in the altar. He doesn't care. For him, everything is equal and everything is service. He doesn't say, okay, this is high class service, this is low class service. No. So that is why even the so-called high class kings are called Raja Rishis, right? Why Raja Rishi? Even though they are Raja and Rishi means sannyasi, they behave in that fashion. Behave means they don't give up. You see him, he's so well dressed with jewel, all that, even for this, right? But his mood is that of a sannyasi. So this is the action. What he does is tyaga, and his state is sannyasa. Hare Krishna. Iti te jnanam akyatam guhyataram maya vimshrijyaita asheshena yateshasi tatha kuru. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thus, I have explained to you the most confidential of all knowledge. Deliberate on this fully, and then do what you wish to do. Hare Krishna.
Very important point for us. What is a very important point? The first thing what comes in all your mind. The first thing which will come was the first thing which will come in your mind is, okay, I am doing mistake. Okay, why can't Krishna just tell me not to do and just take me away? Can't he drive my life? Why should I surrender? Look even to Arjuna, who is a eternal associate, who is, even as per Mahabharatam, is his friend and cousin and brother-in-law. Krishna states what? He very clearly says that I have explained to you the most confidential of all knowledge. Deliberate on it and do as you wish. Krishna doesn't tell you should do only this, which we can also tell. No? Even our cousin or a friend, what do you tell? Hey, just do what I'm telling you. But does he say that? No, he doesn't say. He says deliberate on it and do exactly what you wish. How you think, and finally do what you wish.
It is very, very important, Mataji, even in our families also. Tell them whether they want to do it or not. That is, leave it for them only. You should not force them to do it. That's what I practice.
Thank you so much. But how many of us have got this realization? Very unlikely to have that realization, right? So, yeah. So summary of the yoga ladder we can do tomorrow. So we will do tomorrow. Because whatever we are read anyway, we are going to summarize. So that is what will be the next 4 sessions. So today you all have an idea of what you read, and I am not going to spend too much of time in summarizing, because we all very quickly in 4 lines from karma to jnana, right? We are elevating, it's not elevation, understanding karma, understanding jnana to come out of the material world. Summary 1. Next is from sakama, we move to nishkama. Again, yoga mishra bhakti. Again, from nishkama, our focus is what? We are actually trying to focus on jnana mishra bhakti. Again, from that, what is the final thing? Pure devotional service, right? Finally, Krishna concludes by saying that don't surrender to me rather than to Maya, and I will take care. And finally, he says, I've given you the most confidential knowledge. What is it? The confidential knowledge is I am not the body, I am the soul. And the more confidential knowledge is basically I am part and parcel of Krishna. And therefore, surrendering to him is very important, which is the next level, more confidential. And the most confidential service knowledge is devotional service itself, right? The devotional service itself will be the most confidential, which we saw in the 9th chapter. So with this, we will conclude for today, and I will keep the floor. I'll do the prayer, and any doubt you can ask after the prayer, and we will hear the pastimes of Krishna from Itraj Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpa tarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you so much, Mama. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Come on, Prabhu, if you can switch on the video.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji.
After the 18th chapter, I get to see you all. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, the story is about Ramanujacharya and his pastime.
Sure.
The reason for me to select this one is this week we celebrate Ramanujacharya's birth anniversary. I mean, birthday comes in.
Okay, that's so nice. Okay.
On many occasions, Prabhupada also used Ramanujacharya his glories. So this is one of that story, Mataji, which is not much known to others. So I wanted to share that.
Sure.
Hare Krishna. There were many disciples of Ramanujacharya. One of the disciple, his name is Dhanurdasar. He is very wealthy and very brave, and he is known for his wealth and also the brave through, and people respect him a lot. One thing which during his days all other people speak is on, he's so much addicted, or I would say towards attracted to his wife's eyes. Her name is Ponnachaya. Whenever even he used to take care of her very well, and even when she is stepping out, he used to carry an umbrella in front of her, mentioning that the sun should not scratch her eyes, because he's so much of love and affection towards it. This one day, Ramanujacharya, along with his associates, when they were passing by, they observed this behavior of Dasa. Yep. And then he asked, why are you so much attracted towards your wife and your wife's eyes? Then he was telling all the day, whatever the health, wealth he got, he feel like he must surrender to his wife's beauty and beautiful eyes. Then Ramanujacharya explains to him, if I show something else greater than your wife's beauty, what you will do? He will say that, no, I'll become surrendered to that. Then Ramanujacharya invited him and his wife to Sri Rangam, a temple where Lord Ranganatha resides. By seeing the Lord Ranganatha, he got something special in his body, and he felt so grace, and he fell in ecstasy. He fell in love with the eyes of Sri Ranganatha. And immediately he felt, oh, all these days I was in a dark. I assumed only my wife's is beautiful like that. And this has given both Aurangavili Dasa or Dhanurdasa, he has become as Aurangavili Dasa, to do his devotional service towards Ramanujacharya, who has opened his real eyes. Over the period of time, Ramanujacharya's disciples, other disciples also, they were a little bit jealous over Ramanujacharya, and also not on the Ramanujacharya, on Dhanur. Because Ramanujacharya, on many occasions, he used to shoulder on Dhanurdasa whenever he is coming from temple or from after taking bath also. The other disciples, who they felt so jealous because this Dhanurdasa, he's a Sudra and he came recently. We are all senior devotees, and by Varna also he is not Brahmana community. Hence they were all speaking bad about this on Ramanujacharya. And Ramanujacharya, he did not respond back anything to them. However, he wanted to give some good lesson to the people who were thinking wrongly. So Ramanujacharya had some more private or very sincere devotees. Through them, he requested on a night when the other disciples were sleeping, why don't you grab the dress, means they used to dry the cloths outside, why don't you grab those and keep it in a secret place? Then his private devotee, he did the same. Next day, there were a lot of chaos sorry, in the ashrama, and every disciples, they were so much of worried, their dresses were vanished, and they were pointing to others, you made the wrong, you have taken it, like that. They were individually calling by their names, they were exhibiting their anger. And then Ramanujacharya pacified them, okay, don't worry, past is past, let's see, we'll buy something new, like that. He said, okay, these are things, it has happened like that. And over a few days, Ramanujacharya was so much of involved in some temple activities, and he requested this Dhanurdasa to engage in some temple services in the night. So he was so much engaged, and on the night, same night, Ramanujacharya informed his disciples, you go to Dasar's house and steal the wife's jewels, his wife's jewels. These disciples were very happy, and all of them, immediately hurried to Vilidasar's house, where they saw Purnachiyar, she is sleeping. So at that time, they were trying to rob their house. They took the some of the jewels from their house. In addition, they found Ponnachiyar was wearing some gold ornaments on her side, on neck, on ears, on her hands, on her hip, like that. So they wanted to steal that. Since Ponnachiyar was sleeping on one side, so they were able to take one side of the jewel, like from earring, anklet, like that. And at that time, she woke up. In that dark, she recognized there are some Vaishnavas who are trying to steal her jewels. She did not make any noise, anything upset, but she felt, okay, something wrong has happened to these devotees out of their poverty or anything else. They came here to steal these jewels. So in order to help them, she turned around her body so that the other side also they can take the jewels and go away. Instead, when she was turning around and showing her face and the body so that the other side they can take the jewels, the devotees, the other disciples, they become alert, as if she got woke up. So it's better we leave. So they took all the jewels and went back to Ramanujacharya. And then in the daytime, Ramanujacharya asked his disciples, now you go and see what is happening in the daytime at Dasar's home. When Dasar returned overnight after finishing the temple activities, then he noticed his wife is without jewels on one side. Then he inquired what has happened. Then his wife, she told, oh, last night some Vaishnavas came and they were trying to take some jewels. In order to facilitate them to take all my jewels, I turned around. Maybe mistook that I woke up, and then they took only one side of the jewels. Then he was so upset with his wife. Why did you turn around? You should have still slept as it is position. They could have made some ways to avenues to get all the jewels. So he was so upset with his wife. You should not do like this. So this disciples came and observed this conversation, and then they went back to Ramanujacharya. This has happened in Dasar's house. Then Ramanujacharya explained to them, now you should accept who is a great disciple of mine. When for a simple dried cloths of you are all fighting for each other, whereas the Dasa earlier, even though he was so much influenced with his wife, now he is no more influenced with his wife or the gold jewels, like that. The next day they handed over, and the disciples also accepted their mistakes. The moral or summary of this particular event is, any Vaishnava should have, in a servicing attitude, they have to do the service to Lord, and they have to use the wealth accordingly to perform the kainkarias. And Vaishnavas should not worry about the worldly matters. And Vaishnavas are well connected to the Lord through Acharya Parampara. So this explains very well one of the pastimes of Ramanujacharya.
Thank
Hare
you so
Krishna.
much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So nice. Like, in Padma Puran, Shiva says, Aradhanan sarveshu Vishnu aradhanan saram tasmat parataram devi sadiyasham samarsharam. So what does it mean actually is, he says of all the Aradhana, Vishnu Aradhana is best, and better than Vishnu Aradhana is service to the devotees of Vishnu. So this one, really stuck, and I was so impressed. And I think so apt for Akshay Tridi, you are telling, serving the devotees, how they followed, right? So thank you so much. I think it was a 2-in-1 story. Very nice story, and thanks for sharing. Hare Krishna. So I leave the floor to ask any questions or say something. Otherwise, I will end, because today is Akshay Tridi. You all will be busy going to temple, donate, chanting extra rounds and all that. So yeah. So anything would you all like to share? Anything you want to tell to Prabhu? Okay. So there are, yeah, Prabhu, a lot of messages are there. Chat box, read. Let me just read it for you. Nice story.
Yeah, excellent story,
Oh, that's a
Prabhuji.
very
Thank
nice
you so
story.
much for sharing.
Hare Krishna. Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so back to me. Hare Krishna. So thank you so much and wish you a very, very happy Akshaya Tritiya. And we will meet again, tomorrow, same time. Remember tomorrow. So tomorrow will be our last class. So please be present. Mohandas, please drop a message about tomorrow's class. Today it's
Yeah.
just on safer side for those who have not seen. And we will complete 18th chapter. And tomorrow will be the last day of our journey to level 2. But I'm sure you're already up to date on your quizzes so that you can go to your level 3. Right? And I hope you've already registered and you're enrolled for level 3. Most of you.
No, Mataji, actually we had to complete the level
Last
2 and quizzes we had to complete and download the
certificate.
Then
Yes,
only.
Prabhu. So tomorrow morning, first thing you please go ahead and do. And also Mohandas Prabhu is here to help. If you all have a challenge in anything to do with quizzes, please feel free to message him and he'll take care. Is that fine? So Hare Krishna all of you and tell once Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare, Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna to all of you.
And one suggestion,
Hare
tomorrow
Krishna.
let us all come on the videos. Let's all see each other.
Yeah, so
Yes,
you
yes,
can all
Prabhu.
come in very nice makeup. At least once we should see all of them. So
Yeah.
tomorrow will be the video day.
Tomorrow is a painful day for all of us, Mataji.
Oh, that way. No, Prabhu, the journey.
We have
Never
to.
know. I am like, I always tell I'm the stepney, and I'm very happy to be that. So most of the time, whenever the teachers have a problem or when they are busy, they'll always call me and ask to substitute. So you never know, even in level 3, maybe they may call me one day and I will be taking your class. So I will be back to horror and terrorizing. But thank you. I really enjoyed and we will continue this journey. Sooner or later, it's a small world. So we will connect and we will meet again. Right?
Yes.
I'm not interested to give up the devotee association, nor will I let you give. So we will all continue the journey some way or the other and we will connect again.
Even we are not connected physically, we are always connected through the soul. We are all
very nice. Invisible thread. Remember, I told you that story of Krishna's invisible thread. So that will always connect all of us.
Yes. Mataji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, you can end the meeting. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.